أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you very much for joining us for this course, level 6 on Quranic Arabic. We would like to finish inshallah by mid of Shaban so that there is enough time as we go in Ramadan, prepare. Even we have a number of projects working on in the month of Ramadan. Since I had promised that those who had finished level 5, that if people don't come forward for level 4, then inshallah I will give my time for level 6. We first of all announced level 4, but we had only few participants. So we had to cancel. Now we have canceled it. It's not postponed because we have tried twice. So we just cancel, and this is level 7. Inshallah, I hope that no people who are in this level will continue. No. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim. Yes, although alhamdulillah the ceasefire has been announced, but still you can see even today they killed 8 Palestinians, and many bodies of Palestinians are being found as people go and try to find the rebels. So let's recite Surah Al-Fatiha for those souls which have been lost since this crazy genocide is started. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen ar-rahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. The dua which I have chosen for this sessions is dua. There are beautiful duas for the month of Rajab. So one of the short duas for the month of Rajab, which is supposed to be recited every night, I have chosen, and also this is from an imam. No, and this has been taught to us by an imam. So let us look at this dua, and hopefully, inshallah, we'll put what volunteers to recite in following classes. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Ya man yamliku hawaij as-sa'ilin wa ya'lamu dhamir as-samitin. لكل مسرة منك سمع حاضر وجواب عتيد. اللهم وموعدك الصادق وياديك الفاضلة ورحمتك الواسعة فاسألك أن تصلي على محمد وآل محمد وأن تقضي حوائج الدنيا والآخرة إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. It's a beautiful dua. If we can memorize this, you can recite also in Qunut in Nawaz. It's so beautiful. No. And see the beauty of this dua is no. Ya man yamliku hawaij as-sa'ilin. As usual, no, the etiquette of dua is that since we are asking in dua, usually we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's always recommended to start by praising Allah and invoking Him through some of His great qualities. So here, Imam is teaching, Ya man yamliku hawaij as-sa'ilin. Who the one who possesses the needs of the question. So because we are, Sa'il is a questioner, beggar. Sa'il. Sa'ilin is beggars, plural. Okay, now that you are students of Arabic, I want you to understand. So, Ya man yamliku, yamliku is a word to own, is a present tense. Malaka is to own, yamliku, the one he owns. Ya man yamliku hawaij as-sa'ilin. Hawaij is the plural of hajat. Hajat is singular, plural is hawaij. Ya man yamliku hawaij as-sa'ilin. Or the one who owns or possesses, the needs of the beggars or the questions. So what I ask, what you ask, what others ask, that questions of ours, Allah is the one who is possessing this thing. Allah owns those needs. He can answer this. So you can see before even asking, Imam is just saying that no, that just try to say that, oh Allah, you own whatever we are going to ask, it is in your hands. So, Ya man yamliku hawaij as-sa'ilin. Please try to, if you find anything new, I really hope that you keep a pen and a pen there and do write it. So, malaka is to own, yamliku he owns is a present tense. Like yaktubu he writes, yamliku he owns. Hawaij is plural of hajat, hawaij. As-sa'ilin, again, hawaij and sa'il both are plural. Hajatun as-sa'ilu. وَيَعْلَمُ ضَمِيرَ الصَّامِتِينَ. You know يَعْلَمُ, yeah? We have done already a number of times. Alima يَعْلَمُ. He knew, he knows. No. Alima is past tense, يَعْلَمُ is present tense. وَيَعْلَمُ ضَمِير. ضَمِير is, the inside. Is, for example, whatever is in your heart, so what is in the heart, ضَمِير. What is in your conscience, ضَمِير, no? Also in Urdu, they say zamir. No, same word. No, damir. In Arabic, we say zamir, but Urdu also is a zamir. وَيَعْلَمُ ضَمِيرَ الصَّامِتِينَ. In other words, sometimes we don't even ask. Allah knows what is there in our what is there in our hearts. And this is interesting because I don't know if you have experience in your life. But sometimes you will find that there is some certain things you want to be done, you get it done, and you are thinking that I'm going to, inshallah, after namaz today, I'm going to sit and ask Allah, or I'm going to pray to Allah after that, or I'll wait till Fajr morning when I try to do Shab namaz. That is the best time, I'll do that. And you will notice that you had a plan to do that, but you forgot about it. No. And then during the day, that particular thing has already been fulfilled. Allah has answered your hajat, right? So he says, وَيَعْلَمُ ضَمِيرَ الصَّامِتِينَ. He also knows what is in the hearts, what is in the hearts of people who are silent. Samata is silent, samitin, those who are silent. Even if they don't say, Allah is aware of that. لِكُلِّ مَسْأَلَةٍ مِنْكَ سَمْعٌ حَاضِرٌ وَجَوَابٌ أَتِيدٌ. Subhanallah. And then Imam says, for every question, masala is a question. No, masail, right? We say ruling is a question. No? So لِكُلِّ مَسْأَلَةٍ مِنْكَ سَمْعٌ حَاضِرٌ وَجَوَابٌ أَتِيدٌ. For every question, for every wish, if asked of you is heard readily, سَمْعٌ حَاضِرٌ, it is readily heard, وَجَوَابٌ أَتِيدٌ, and the answer is provided. So you can see, subhanallah, is so beautiful way, the way Imam is starting this dua by invoking those qualities of Allah, which are very many, but only those qualities which are very relevant about our questions. So inshallah, we will discuss about it and continue in the next class. But it's a very beautiful dua. I strongly encourage you to memorize this dua. It is there in Mafatul Jinan. It's also there in our publication, Rajab and Shaban devotions. If you go to Rajab and Shaban or Amal Rajab and Shaban, it is there, dua number 2. It's a short dua. It's a beautiful dua. Try to memorize it and recite it. Either in Qunut or even after namaz, you can do that. These are very special months we are going through, and these beautiful duas have been taught by our Aimma. Okay. As I promised that I would like to start by discussing a few verses. The idea here was a quick revision because what has happened that because we didn't have enough students, so mashallah, I can see 3 students today in the class who have joined us from the previous level. That means from level 4 and 5. They have not gone to level 5. So it's just fair that we will also look at some of the past things and also go slowly so they can also feel that we are benefiting. Okay. So I thought that I'll start with 3 verses of Quran which has to do with Ramadan. Consider this class as not only a new class, but also at the same time preparing ourselves for Ramadan. So I really, really hope and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that as you do tilawat of Quran this year, in Ramadan, you remember some of the things we have covered, and you can identify those rules as you are as you are reciting the Quran during tilawat. So this is the ayat you'll find almost every speaker will begin the month of Ramadan, or Maulana or a speaker, they have to invoke, they recite this ayat, because this is the ayat in which fasting has been prescribed, which has been fasting prescribed for us. Now Allah has decreed fasting for us. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Now I will leave it on you. Anyone can start, just raise the hand. Any of the rules which you have covered in the past, since level 1 up to now, this is the 6th level. In the last 5 levels, even those who are from level 1 to 4. Now, any of these things which you have covered, any of the rules, just tell me what appears here. Can you identify any of the rules you have covered from this ayat? Just raise your hand and Bismillah, or you can just unmute and you can contribute now.
Assalamu alaikum, can I say something?
Bismillah.
Well, I don't know about the rules, but I can identify the verbs.
Okay, just tell us Bismillah.
So you have kutiba.
Yeah. So what is kutiba?
It's actually to write, isn't it?
It is. What kind of speech is this? Is it noun, particle, or verb?
I think it's a verb, kutiba.
Okay, it's a verb. But it's a verb which is it's known as passive verb. Okay, which we have not yet covered. Will be covered inshallah this perhaps this level. So the original word was kataba, which is to write or prescribe or decree. No, kataba. Kutiba is a verb, but this is a passive verb. Now, what is the function of a passive verb?
The doer, the object is later. Well, in English, the subject
the doer
is first.
Is not important here.
Yeah.
So when we don't want to mention the doer, or when the doer is known, right, then we use passive. For example, let us say that in your home, you are living with some your relatives or your sons, now they are grown up, your children, right, are grown up. And they are not careful about certain things. So instead of saying that you did like this thing, what we do, we use passive word. For example, they were supposed to close the garage door, right? After coming home and parking the car, or they're supposed to close the garage door. It is very cold. They don't do it, right? So as a kind of what courtesy, we won't say you did not close the door today, because maybe that would be taken as a criticism or you're lecturing them. So what we do is that today the door remained open, right? Door was left open. So the door was left open is a passive verb. You see, it's passive verb. So sometimes you use passive verb so as to not pinpoint the doer, or sometimes the doer is not known. For example, maybe you have a son, the daughter-in-law, son-in-law, right? I don't know who kept the garage door open. So you don't know. So we don't know exactly who the doer is. But the action is important. You want to announce that it is very cold weather just now. It does not make sense to keep the garage door open, right? Because then we are going to lose a lot of energy. Right? So in that case, we use passive verb. But in this case, sometimes passive verb is used because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know that when it comes to Quran and giving of law, the giver of the law is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So that's why you can see Allah doesn't say that Allah is the one who has prescribed for you fasting. That's one thing. The other thing which is quite interesting, Allah Matabatwai mentions a very good point here, and that is a psychology. Human psychology is a very important science. I'll mention this number of times, and so here, because fasting is not an easy thing, and especially in the Arabian world, right, which they've got scorching heat there, and you fast there, right? So that is not easy. So because it's a command which Allah is decreeing on the Muslims, it's a difficult thing. He doesn't say that Allah has done this, because sometimes a person will say, this Allah who is so kind and merciful, how can he ask me not to drink and not to eat in such a hot season, right? So sometimes there is a this does not reconcile that Allah is kind and merciful. So then he just uses the passive word. It's a psychological just that yes, fasting has been prescribed, of course, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but of course, just now you should know that it has been prescribed to you. Who prescribed is not important. So do you see the function of a passive verb which is mentioned here? So it is comes twice. Kutiba, kutiba. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kutiba alaykum siyamu kama kutiba ala allazina qablikum. Okay. So kataba is a past word, past tense, right? And then of course kutiba is passive. Yes, Sayed, your question? You have a question, Sayed? Okay. Because I saw a message here from Sayed. Okay, good. Yes, anybody else now besides? Thank you, Sister Sabira, for that. Yeah, it's a verb which is passive verb. Anything else, anybody?
I can try.
Yes, Bismillah.
So alaykum. So kum is a attached pronoun for you, plural.
Okay, kum is a attached pronoun. What is alay?
Upon.
Yeah, so it is originally was Allah, right? Allah is a preposition, right? So this pronoun is attached to preposition. Remember, we said pronoun can be attached to the noun, and pronoun can also be attached to noun or to prepositions, right? So this is prepositions. Alaykum, on you. So when we say, remember that Allah, the alif maksura, when a preposition is when a pronoun is attached to a preposition, then what happens that that alif maksura changes to ya. It is Allah kum becomes alaykum. Okay, which means what?
Upon you or on you.
Upon you, yeah, upon you. So it is prescribed upon you, like it's a wajib on you. For example, when you want to do nazar, nazar, right? Of vow, for example, if you want to vow that if something happens to me, I'm going to do something. So Islamic Sharia requires that if you do nazar, if you covenant or nazar, if you do vow, then you say, for example, if I'm going to succeed in my exam, then I'm going to fast, for example. And I want to make, I make that kind of vow. So in that case, if you want to make it wajib, you say, Lillahi alayya. For the sake of Allah on myself, alayya. Alayya, that means upon me. So alaykum, upon you. So kutiba alaykum, yes. So it is upon you. Anybody else? There are many things we have covered from this. Try to think, no?
They are similar. There's two other kums. Qablikum, la'allakum.
Yes, yeah. This is the beauty, right? This is, you can see it is to just sound it in a way. There's so much. Remember when we started the lesson of preposition in level 1, I told you that Arabs use preposition a lot. Sorry, pronouns. When we started the lesson of pronoun right in the beginning, remember I had quoted a number of verses whereby the use of pronouns is so much, right? So you can say alaykum, qablikum, la'allakum, right? It is also rhyming at the same time the use of pronoun. Yeah. So kum is 3 times, yes. Of course, kum here is addressing to the plural menfolk, right? It's a masculine second person plural. A second person masculine plural, kum. Anything else? Besides Sister Sabar, anybody else would like to contribute?
So can I try one more?
Male or even Sister Shahina, because some of the things we have covered, Muslim, we have covered some of the things. Yes. Ali, yes.
So alladhina is accusative because it's preceded by ala.
Alladhina, sorry, alladhina is what?
Alladhina is accusative because it is preceded.
Oh, no. Alladhina here, no, it's not accusative, no, because this is Alladhina remains Alladhina throughout, okay? Alladhina is just, if you remember, the first lesson we did was Surah Al-Fatiha, right?
Sorry, is it genitive?
No, it's Alladhina it remains same. This is something which is mabni, that means it remains same. Alladhi is one who, and Alladhina is plural. So it doesn't change whether it is preceded by a preposition or if it is accusative or not, it will remain as it is, al-lazina. So al-lazina, you can see, ya ayyuhalladhina al-lazina, those who. Surat al-lazina, the path of those whom you guide, you favored. Surat al-lazina anta alayhim. So al-lazina is just demonstrative what pronoun, these are pronoun, right? Lazina. So this is, we have covered this al-lazina. Let me tell you. Yeah, I also want to tell you that please bring your book now. So Al-Ladina has been covered. You can see we did this thing in relative pronouns. Yeah, if you take relative pronoun, right, you see page 59. Yeah, page 59, lesson 20. Alladhi, alladhina. So alladhi is singular, alladhina is plural. Alladhan is dual. So that will remain alladhi throughout. You can see, for example, before that there is a preposition Allah, right? So in spite of Allah, it doesn't become alladhini, alladhina, because alladhi is a pronoun which remains as it is. It's a pronoun. Which kind of pronoun we said just now? It is a relative pronoun. It's not a relative pronoun, no. So it's the plural. But there is another preposition besides Allah, which is another preposition.
Is it min? Min
Yes, asan. Min is a preposition, yeah, asan. So what effect does it do?
Qabli becomes
It's a qablu becomes qabli, you see, because of min, which is a preposition, because qablikum. It was qablukum, or qablun, but qablikum, because of min. Min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. So, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, up to now, you should know, ya, of course, is known as munadi, ya al-munadi. It means if you want to, for example, draw somebody's attention, ya Muhammad, ya Ali, ya Fatima, ya Allah, right? So this is not a munadi, just when you call upon. So, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah, you can see how much Allah loves the believers, right? He's addressing them so respectfully. All those who have believed, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. This kind of address Prophet Allah uses for the Prophet. Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila alaykum. Or the messenger, just convey the messages come to you, right, about Qadir. So, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Here Allah is so respectfully addressing us. No, it doesn't only just say, do this thing. No, very respectful is all those who believe fastings are prescribed. So ya is for munadi. Ayyuhalladhina, those who. Amanu is a verb. Amana is a singular. Amanu is plural and masculine. Plural. So amanu. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. All those who have believed. Kutiba we discuss alaykum as-siyamu. So because in the passive verb, since the doer is not known, the object becomes subject. So kutiba alaykum as-siyamu. For example, we say kataballahu siyama. Okay, Allah prescribed fasting. But here, since the doer is absent, usually the object becomes subject. No, siyamu. That's why it is siyamu. But we have not covered. We have not done these things, so I'm just mentioning it. Siyamu kama kutiba alladhina qablikum la'allakum tattaqun, so that you become righteous. Tattaqun, of course, is so you become righteous. La'alla, so that you become righteous. So these are some of the things. As you read the Quran tilawat of Quran, you have example choice. That when you read Quran, read it slowly. Even at this stage, you'll be surprised. When I read the Quran, I read 10, 12, 15 verses only a day. Why? Because I go slowly, I look at the words, I try to, understand this thing, what is Allah trying to say. I try to see that, which kind of words they use, what they mean. So you can continue that practice also in Ramadan. There's nothing wrong in it. But what I do in Ramadan is, in Ramadan, I just recite Quran. No, because it is recommended that you complete at least the entire Quran. If you can do even more, then at least 3 times. No, so either you complete the Quran every 10 days, or if you can't do that, at least every, let's say 15 days. So you try to do twice, or then you can do every 30 days. No, so in the month of Ramadan, I just quickly just recite. But besides, after from Shawwal to Shaban, I go slowly in tilawat and try to look at the words, what kind of words they use, what they mean, where have they been used again in other places in Quran, is the meaning remain same in other contexts. Now all those kind of, I look at it just to enrich myself about the Quranic knowledge. Because Quran is very rich. You should know one thing. Okay? So this is this ayat. Okay? Now let us look at this ayat, which next ayat, now it talks about not only fasting, but Allah goes further by telling us some kind of rules. That, of course, fasting, unlike prayers. See, prayers is wajib and finish. And there is no exception to that. The moment a boy or a girl becomes baligh or baliga, he or she has to recite namaz until the death. The exception, of course, being when the sisters are in their periods, that's a different thing. Or if a person is, for example, is unconscious, right, or cannot use his mind, is different. Otherwise, prayer will be there. That's not the case with fasting. Fasting has its certain rules. It's not like, for example, mutlakan. That means it's not, for example, something that absolute. It's not absolute rule. No, it's rule based on certain kind of conditions and state. Keep in mind. So Allah now says, أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير الله وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. Right? Okay. So this is the meaning is there. Now I leave it on you. Any one of you can start. Look at any particular rule. Remember. Every aspect you remember. For example, you can identify whether it is a verb, it's noun. You can see if there is any preposition, if there are any kind of pronoun, what kind of impact it has, or as somebody said, accusative, genitive, or nominative, what is it? Whatever you can find, just let me know. So it will be a quick revision. Also, it will help also those who have joined us, for example, from level 4. Yes, Bismillah.
Shaykhna, I found, I believe, 2 or 3 words I'd like to share.
Bismillah.
I believe one is يطيقون.
Yutikuna, yeah. What does it mean?
If I were to break down the word, I think the root word is tiku, or if I'm not
What
wrong.
does it mean?
يطيقون. If I follow the words, يطيقون فدية طعام مسكين. To give something or to apportion something.
Yutikunahu is one of the most difficult word here. It means that if you cannot do it, yutikunahu, this who is a pronoun referring to fasting. Or the ladina yutikunahu. For example, if you are unable to fast, maybe you are sick, maybe you are feeling too much thirsty, maybe, for example, it's very difficult, unable, whatever it is. So, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ. So those who is unable to fast. Anything else? Something simple, for example, what is a word? What is, for example, noun, which is plural, or what is singular? Just identify things.
Ma'dudat. That's a
Yes, what is
plural of the
ma'dudat?
word. It's a noun, and it's a plural of the word ma'dudat.
Adad. Okay, adad means number.
Adad, yeah. Okay.
Ma'dudat is numbers. Although for example, in the translation, he has just used number of days because it's already number of days. But ma'dudat is, adad is number, right? Adad.
Yeah.
Ma'dudat, no, numbers. Ayyam ma'dudat, that means fasting is wajib, but it is not the entire years. It's not, for
For a number of
example,
days.
whenever you want. There are specific days. Ayyam ma'dudat. So before that, everybody should have just talked about ayyam. What is ayyam?
Ayam is also plural.
Asant, yeah,
Plural of
just say.
yom.
Yom is singular,
Days.
ayyam is plural, right? So that's how we
Days.
try to identify. So yom is singular, ayyam ma'dudat, no? Now, of course, it is ayyaman here, it is accusative because it continues with what earlier about fasting, because fasting has been prescribed on you. So this is the object of the verb kutiba, okay? The subject was siyam, but here is ayyam. So this is now ayyam ma'dudat. It is prescribed for specific days. So yom is singular, ayyam is plural, ayyam ma'dudat. So fasting has been prescribed for specific days, ma'dudat, okay? Anybody else?
There are many prepositions.
Bismillah.
Well, minkum is two prepositions from
Yes,
among
minkum,
you.
yes, min, and then kum is pronoun, right?
Yes.
So minkum
Preposition
is
and a pronoun together. Minkum.
preposition attached to pronoun. Yes, next one.
There's there's also the first line. Min ayamin.
Before that is Allah, right?
Allah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the
min,
second line you
yes.
have Allah
Min,
again.
yes.
Aman miskinan. Faman.
No,
Man is a
no,
preposition,
man is not
right?
preposition.
Who? Is not man, so who?
Min
Faman
is
is so
preposition.
who.
Man is a man, who, right? The one who.
Yeah, yeah. So who? Faman. So who?
Yeah.
Khairan.
Anything else?
Third line. Wa and I'm not sure about an.
For no. For is that, and if you. For and if. But,
Okay.
but whoever one it is. So
Kuntum.
one is but one who.
Yes, kuntum. In kuntum.
Kuntum is of course kana and tum, yeah. So let's very quickly look at it. So ayam is as we said, plural of yom. Madudat is plural of adad. Madudat. So no space this. Faman. So the one who. For here is as I said, for can have two meanings. One is either it is a conjugation, or sometimes therefore or so. So if someone is kana minkum maridan, but if one of you is faman kana maridan, if one of you is sick, maridan minkum, amongst you, if somebody is sick, or ala suffering, or if he's traveling. So either he is sick or suffering. Iddatun min ayyam ukhra. So in that case, he will count those number of days he was sick or traveling, and those days will be repaid. Iddatun min ayyam ukhra. So then you are going to fast later after Ramadan, the days you missed on account of being sick or traveling. So you are going to count those days in other days. That means besides Ramadan. But the person who is not able to fast. So for example, let's say somebody is old so old that now he is not sick. He's not a traveler, but he's so old, frail, right? And doesn't even believe that he can fast this year, next year, for example. So then, of course, for such a person, it says, fidyatun ta'am miskin, a ransom of feeding a needy person. That's why we go to fidya, right? For example, those people who are now seniors and can no longer fast, they will not fast because of their age, seniority, but they'll still give fidya. So fidyatun ta'am miskin. So وَالَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ. First was sick and traveler, but this is not a sick, not a traveler. This is unable to fast on account of either has a permanent sickness. For example, let's say God forbid somebody has diabetes, right? And cannot remain hungry for long, or somebody has some kind of disease or somebody has to take so many tablets throughout the day that there is no way that he or she can fast, even if the fast is short, right? Because if the doctor says if you don't take medicine, you'll get sick. And he also has realized that sometimes when he or she forgot his sick about medicine, the thing became worse, right? So such a person is yutikunahu. That means he cannot now fast. Fidyatum ta'am miskin. He will do a fidya, he'll give a ransom, by feeding, a needy person. فَمَنْ تَتَوَّى خَيْرًا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ, right? But whoever volunteers goodness, it is better for him, right? So, however, if you think that you can still fast, sometimes, for example, you can see there are people who are seniors, but then they still put efforts. And subhanAllah, may Allah reward our seniors and their dedication. You go to the masjid, you will find people are in their 70s, 80s, and they're fasting. It's not easy for them, but they just do it. They say, if you tell them why you're fasting, they said, God gives me strength, right? And it is God's strength, there's no doubt in it, but the real meaning, the real reason is faith, right? Faith also is a very special impetus to give you that ability, right? It gives that energy. So the one who volunteers, then that is better for him, right? Of course, you don't have to do it if you get sick. وَأَنْ تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. But if you fast, is better for you. No, in kuntum ta'lamun, only if you were to know. So when you can fast, you should do it. And otherwise you're exempted, that's fine. Go ahead. But coming to Arabic, we are not doing the tafsir, we are just doing Arabic. So as Sister Falsafa said, there are a number of positions, Allah and mean, right? There is man, faman kana, and again that is, and again faman here. So therefore, so who, faman tatawwa, so who. So the man is twice, faman, the one who, right? Again, preposition, conjugation for is there for faman, fahuwa, for therefore or so, right? Tasumu is imperative verb. Okay. Sama is he fasted. Tasumu, you fast. One tasum. This is Allah says, but whoever but to fast is better. One tasumu khairukum. But to fast is better. So if you fast, tasumu is on tasumu. If you fast, it's better. So this is the imperative verb ordering that you fast. Khair, of course, is a noun, better. Khairul lakum. In kuntum ta'alamun. This comes in Quran a number of times. This phrase, in kuntum ta'alamun, only if you were to know. Now this again, as we discussed earlier about psychology, right? Allah uses this often, in kuntum ta'alamun. What is happening is that there are people who object to fasting. And so Allah says, only if you were to know what are the benefits. I remember some years ago, I was giving a presentation on what to do in winter, right? Some of the things we suggest in winter to do. The days are short, the nights are long. So a number of things we had suggested. One of them was fasting. So some people came to my wife and said that tell Maulana that no, Ramadan fasting is enough for us. Don't ask us to fast in Muslims fast and Rajab and Shaban. No? So of course, Allah knows that people feel that this is difficult. They are depriving you of food and water and drinks and all those things. Allah says, "In kuntum ta'alamun," only if you were to know that fasting is good for you. And subhanallah, I remember one day I went to see my doctor, and that day I was fasting. So something came up and I told him I'm fasting. He's not a Muslim, this person. And he said, it's a very good thing what you are doing. And he says, even I do although I'm not a Muslim, but I do fast by missing my, lunch. I just take early morning breakfast and then in evening. So I sometimes miss my lunch deliberately. So now even they are realizing that there is benefits. Even Allah says, in kuntum only if you were to know that this is better. Yes, any questions? Okay. So I will not discuss the next ayat. We will discuss in the next class. Let's go into our revision. Okay. So this is now about. We'll start with our unit 2 starts with. We have covered 5 lessons in detail. So I'll quickly just go through them, but just a revision for those who have joined us from level 4. Okay. So the first lesson is the fa'al verb, which is past tense. In Arabic, always a verb in its original form is in past tense, it is singular, it is in third person, and it is masculine. Okay, keep in mind. The Arabic words, all the words which are Arabic, originally Arabic, they are formed from a verb, from a fa'al. And the verb is always singular, it is in past tense, it is in masculine and third person. Okay, so for example, kataba, he wrote. Darasa, he studied. Alima, he knew. Right? Kama, he stood. Sama, he fasted. Right? Salah, he prayed. Right? So these are all what past tense, singular, third person, and in masculine form. So this is always keep in mind. And this is known as not only a verb, but it's also known as a root word. Always keep in mind that if you want to, let's say, if you want to find any word in Arabic dictionary, you can't just go, for example, let's say you want to find masjid. You want to find masjid in dictionary, Arabic dictionary, you won't find under mim. You'll find the sin. Because masjid is from sajada, means the place of sajda. Okay, so it is always important, you should know that if you want to use a dictionary, you have to always find the root word. What happens if the dictionary is according to words? What would happen? If they won't go to root words and their dictionary is the way it is, for example, masjid in meme, what would happen? Anybody?
I think
answer. Oh, yes, Sister Sabela.
I think it might be very confusing because you said there are 11 suffixes or prefixes to be added to a word.
It's not only confusing, it will be huge. If they were to have a dictionary based on every word, okay, then the dictionary will be huge. Like, for example, just now the dictionary we have like this. This will be like maybe 20, 50 volumes just dictionary. So you can imagine just to find a one word, you have to go through 50 books, no? Because then it becomes, Arabic is so rich that you can form so many words from one verb, right? So it's best that go to the verb and then of course how the words are derived. Remember I told you about in one of the classes we had done earlier that I might even have the slide here, about knowledge, alima, right? The Quran comes 825 times in 37 different forms, right? So you can imagine that if one word can be formed different forms, 37 different forms, So every word, if you can imagine, multiply by those things. No? So the dictionary will be so huge that it will be difficult to use. Okay, it will not be dictionary become encyclopedia then. No?
Mhm.
Yes. Any questions?
How does one find the root word? Like there's 11 different suffixes or prefixes. How does
Yeah, of course. Remember, we did say, if you remember, at one stage, if you look at the past letter, that I've given you those 11 letters which are added as prefix or suffix.
Mhm.
Right? So if you know those 11 letters, and if you try to remove those from any word and still you find 3 letters are remaining, that must be the root. No?
Okay.
So at one stage we did that. If you want, I can pull that back now. So there is.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah,
I have
we've
them.
taken from this book.
Yeah, it's in the book
this-
too, and I have them
Oh,
too.
yeah, there are
Written
those letters. If you see so if you take those letters, we just start either the prefixed or suffixed. No, if you remove those letters, you automatically try to come with an idea that what is the root letter, root word of this. No? Let me see if I can quickly find it here.
I haven't done that exercise where to look at a word and then find these 11 suffixes, prefixes, and try to find the root word. I haven't done that exercise, so
Yeah, good, but it is there in one of our slides. I don't have it here in this particular.
it's on page
My
105.
slide is there.
It's page 105 in the book.
105 in our book.
I believe so.
Okay,
I wrote it down as page 105. Let me check.
let me check it.
No, I don't know why I said
No, it's not
105.
here.
No.
Okay, inshallah. So it's there on the past slides. No. So try to those words which are prefixed or suffixed. If you try to remove them, then you will be left with 2 or 3 root or letter of a root word, no? And that is how you'll find it.
Okay.
But over time, inshallah, as you start learning these things, and you'll find that, for example, how we are adding these prefixes, suffixes to verbs, that gives an idea, right? That how we are adding all those things. So this is an example of taraka. Now, those who have done about Unit 2, they know about it, but those who have joined us from level 4, so this is an example of a verb taraka. This is first lesson in Unit 2. Taraka means to abandon or to leave. Taraka, taraka, taraku. Okay, taraka, taraka, taraku. So this is the past tense, conjugation past tense. The way, for example, we did earlier about pronouns, right? The same way, example, we did ka, ki, kum, kunna, right? All those pronouns which we did. The same way, for example, this is a conjugation. Taraka, taraka, taraku. Right? This is third person masculine. And third person feminine is tarakat, tarakata, tarakna. Then second person, tarakta you, when you left, taraktuma, dual, taraktum, plural, right? And then, of course, now again second person, but feminine. Tarakti, taraktuma, taraktunna. Okay? And then the first person, there is no difference between male and female. So, taraktu, tarakna, taraktu. So what we have done here is also we put English, okay, and the Arabic here. Al-ghaib al-muzakkar. Ghaib means third person. In other words, the person we are talking about is not present. Ghaib, he is absent. Muzakkar is masculine. Al-ghaib muzakkar, third person masculine. Al-ghaib al-muannas, third person feminine. Al-hadir means present, hadir. No. Muzakkar. For example, when a person is dying, what is the state? The state is known as what in Arabic? What is the state when a person is dying? When a person is dying, what is that state known in Arabic? Ihtidar, right? Ihtidar. What is ihtidar? That means he's experiencing the death because the death has has presented itself. The death has presented on this person, his experience, death, so known as ihtidar. So the root word is hadara, ihtidar. As you can see, now Sister Sabra, if you see ihtidar, there is alif and there is ta, which are extra there. Alif, so if you remove this, there's hadara. Hadara means present, ihtidar. That means a person is experiencing that ihtidar. And then there are rules of ihtidar. If you see in the books, there are rules of ihtidar that make the person who is in the state of ihtidar turn him towards Qibla, try to dictate him about kalima, at the same time, but if he dies, then cover the head, make sure that there is light is there, right? All those things are there. Person, for example, the family members who cannot control should not be there. So let them they should not start crying because it hurts the person who is seeing this thing. All those things, there are etiquettes of ihtidar. So hadara means present. Hadir muzakkar. Now second person. Someone who's present, you just tell him tarakta. And tarakti is masculine. And then of course mutakallim, that means a person talking himself. So when I talk about myself, taraktu, I left. Tarakna, we left. Tarakna, we left. So this is the conjugation of the past tense of the word taraka. So those who are with us in level 6, can you do this thing if I change the slide? Would you be able to do from your memory? Anybody there who can say this table from memory? If you raise your hand, then I change the slide. Anybody would like to do that? Because we have done this conjugation for long, right? This is just a quick revision. Nobody is there to take challenge? Yeah, you're not, it's after long, right? Since we finished, it was so many weeks. Okay, inshallah, next week, I hope you will do this thing because we need to do this thing, no? That if I, for example, just, this is the slide, right? If I go to the previous slide, then you should also do taraka, taraktum, right? Tarakti, taraktuma, taraktunna, right? And then what? Tarakat, tarakata, taraktunna. In second person, tarakta, taraktuma, taraktum, tarakti, taraktuma, taraktunna, taraktu, tarakna, right? You should do it. For example, we start with third person, masculine. Taraka, taraka, 2 of them. Tarakum. No, taraka, taraka, taraku, right? Taraka, taraka, taraku. Then tarakat, tarakata, taraktunna. This is third person. Now coming to second person. Tarakta, taraktuma, taraktum. Second person now feminine. Tarakti, taraktuma, taraktunna. Right? And then of course first person. Taraktu, tarakna. Okay, so inshallah, I realize that we are meeting after a long, almost over a month or maybe 1.5 months. So maybe you might forget, but try to make sure that you do remember this conjugation, even without having any kind of assistance. So this is taraka, similar this nasara. It's similar like taraka nasara. Nasara is to help. Iza ja nasrullah when the help of Allah comes in victory. Iza ja nasrullah nasara, nasara, nasaru. Nasarat, nasarata, nasarna, right? So again, same, you can see. Nasara, he helped or it helped. Nasara, they helped too. Nasaru, they all male help. Nasarat, she helped. Nasarata, the 2 female help. Nasarna, they help, sisters. Nasarna. Nasarta, you help. Nasartuma, you 2 of help. Nasartu, you men folk help. Nasarti, she help. You the sister help. Nasartuma, the 2 sisters help. Nasartunna, the sisters help, right? All female. Nasartu, I help. Nasarna, we help. No? So Nasra again. So that was Taraka, this Nasra. So that was lesson 1, okay, in unit, which we have done long ago, right? Then lesson 2 in unit 2 is about verb again, but now present tense, which is used for present tense and also future tense. So sama'a, sami'a, yasma'u, yasma'ani, yasma'una. Tasma'u, tasma'ani, yasma'ana. Tasma'u, tasma'ani, tasma'una. So this is the conjugation in present tense form, which is used for present and also future. Can also be used in future tense. And we have done this thing. So this is lesson 2 in unit 2. Any questions? Similarly, this is fataha. Fataha yaftahu. To open. He opens. Yaftahu. For example, we have got Surah Al-Fatiha. Why? Because it's the opening of the Quran. Surah Al-Fatiha this is the only surah which is named on account of its position in the Quran. Every surah has been named on account of, for example, the content, on account of the first word in the ayat, right? Or on account of something unique, story in it, like Al-Baqarah, or for example, on account of the general theme of it, like Surah Ikhlas, Tawheed, right? Al-Fatiha is the only surah is named Al-Fatiha on account of, its position in the Quran, that it is the opening surah. You open the Quran, the first. So Al-Fatiha is the opening, right? Of course, it also known as Al-Ham, Kitab, other names are there, but it is also Al-Fatiha because of its position in the Quran. It's the opening surah. So Fatiha is to open. Yaftahu, Yaftahan, Yaftahu. So this is again present tense. I hope next week when I bring this thing, volunteers will be there, inshallah, to conjugate with different verbs, at the same time also try to, from a memory if possible. No? I understand just now we are meeting after long, almost over a month, so maybe we don't remember now. Okay, so that was lessons 1 and 2. Any questions before we go to lesson 3, the revision?
I had one question on
Yes,
this.
go ahead, Bismillah.
The third person feminine and the second person masculine in the singular and dual are the same?
Yes, are you talking of past tense or present tense?
Present tense.
Okay, so first person?
No, third person feminine.
Yes.
And second person masculine.
Yes.
Right?
It's same, yeah.
They're the same, huh? Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it's same. Yeah, I know it's sometimes confusing, but they have to see the corporate. It's same. Tasmau and no, there is no typo. This is same.
All right.
Ta here refers to one is referring to second person. For example, ta here is a sign of feminine, tasmau, and in the second person, ta is a sign of hadir, present. So ta also represents feminine, and ta also represents the present.
Thank you.
So yes, that's correct. Now we go to lesson 3, 4, 5, which is all to do with imperative, different forms of imperative. Okay, that is 3, 4, 5. We'll come, inshallah, revise this, and then we'll see if we can get in it. Lessons 3, 4, 5 is imperative. 3 is imperative for the present, those who are present, second person. Lesson 4 is imperative of the first person and third person. And of course, lesson 5 is imperative of negation. That means you you order, but order of negation. So you prohibit. When you want to prohibit, when you prohibit something, it's also order, it's also imperative, but now it is negative imperative, right? So that is lesson 5. So lesson 2 is imperative of a second person. That means somebody is in front of you. How do we do that? Okay, so we said here, there are 3 types of imperative verbs in Arabic. Imperative verbs for second person, this is unit 2, lesson 3. In 3-lettered consonants, Hamzatul Wasl is prefixed in lieu of the letter. Now, so this can see, like as you asked sister earlier, so these are the 4 signs of present tense. Ya, ta, Hamza, and Nun, Alif and Nun, okay? This Ya, ta, Alif and Nun, these are prefixed to the verbs to bring about present tense. Kataba, yaktubu, right? Kataba, he wrote. Yaktubu, he writes. So ya is added, prefixed, is added before to bring about present tense. So the letters of present tense are then replaced by Hamzatul Wasl. So ya, ta, alif, and nun will disappear. Instead, Hamzatul Wasl will come. Okay, so Hamzatul Wasl, and then of course there's a rule that Hamzatul Wasl carries kasra or dhamma. Okay, we have discussed in detail. Okay. So there is one kind of imperative verb, that is second person. Imperative verbs of third and first person, we instead of alif we put li, lam kisra. Same thing, same rules almost, that we remove, for example, these four letters, ya, ta, alif, nun, which are the signs of present tense, okay, and replace with li. Okay. Is prefix in lieu of liyaktu. Now, of course, here these letters are still there. No, so this is a mistake. It's not in lieu of, but li is added before. So this is mistake here. So imperative verbs here, third person li is prefixed before the letters, okay, not in lieu of. Before the letters present, okay. And then of course, imperative prohibition. Instead of li, we just change it to la. Okay? So let us look at the example. Here it is. What you do is that you take kataba, past tense, find its present tense yaktubu. Okay, so the second person. So kataba, taktubu, second person, right? Second person will be kataba, taktubu. You wrote. Kataba is he wrote. Second person is taktubu. So change taktubu to uktub. Okay. So this ta disappears of present tense. Instead of that, it will be Hamza. And then whether Hamza will carry fatha, sorry, kasra or dhamma. Hamza will only carry dhamma or kasra, not fatha. So how do you know? You have to look at this second letter, ta, kataba, second letter. If ta has dhamma, then Hamza will carry dhamma. So uktub, kataba, taktubu. Taktubu, that means you write. Second person, you write, taktubu. Okay, so taktubu, this ta will disappear, and so that Hamza will come, and because taktub, because there is dhamma on ta, it will be uktub. Uktub means write. This is singular. Uktuba, the two of you write. Uktubu, you may write. And then of course, second person, that was muzakkar na muannas. No, that means feminine. Uktubi, uktuba, uktubna. Okay. So this is how you order. If you want to order your son that what I say, write it, you say uktub. If you want to order your daughter, that makes sure that what I write, you should note it down, uktubi. Okay, so uktub, uktubi, that's singular. Then of course, plural and plural. In the same way, for example, la'ana. La'ina is to curse. No? So tal'anu, that you curse, for example, you are praying for the Allah's mercy should be away from that person. So tal'anu. No? So for tal'anu, it becomes, you remove ta and put alif hamza. This ta is removed, il'an. Now because the second letter is fatha, then hamza will carry kasra. Okay, here it carries dhamma, it will carry kasra. Il'an. Il'an, that means curse. Il'ana, il'ana. So for example, I say, those who are committing genocide, just curse them. So il'an. If you want to say, for example, to a boy, il'an al-dhalim. But if you want to command to people, many, just say il'anu al-dhalimun. No, il'anu al-dhalimin, curse those who are wrongdoers, who are committing genocide. Il'anu, right? And the same thing if you want to talk to a sister, say, oh sister, just curse the person who is committing genocide, say il'ani. Or il'inna if you want to order the sisters. Okay, so this is how it is, that it is imperative of a second person in which the the letters, the prefixes of present tense will change and will be replaced by Hamza, as we said earlier. So these are the letters of present tense. So, Ya, Ta, Alif, and Nun. These are the letters of present tense. This will be changed, and instead we are going to put Hamzatul Wasl. So in the three letter consonants, Hamzatul Wasl is prefixed in lieu of letters Ya, Ta, Alif, and Nun, Hamza, and Nun. Okay? That's what it. The same way, Iksib, Kasaba, Iksib, Kasaba, Yaksibu, Taksibu. Kasaba is to earn. No. So Taksibu, you earn, present tense. Taksibu. Kasaba, Taksibu, you earn. You take Taksibu, remove Ta, put Hamzatul Wasl. And because Sin has a kasra, second letter Sa has a kasra, it will be Iksib. Iksib means earn. Iksibi, earn. Okay. Try to earn a lot of sawab in the month of Rajab by fasting or by reciting dua. Iksib. Iksibi, okay? Then Katala. Katala is yak taktulu. You kill, taktulu, present. So take taktulu and change to uktul. Okay? Uktul, kill, uktuli, you are commanding a sister, uktuli, kill. Okay? So uktul, uktuli. No, just slaughter, kill. No. And then, of course, tasma. Tasma is means you listen. So tasma, isma. Isma, this is what we use in Talqeen. Isma, ifham. Right? If there is a man who's died, then we say isma, ifham. Listen and understand. Isma, ifham. If it's a sister, if the mayat of his sister, Talqeen, and then we say ismai, ifhami, ya Fatima bint Fulan, right? Or Fatima, daughter of Fulan. No? So ismai, ifhami, listen and comprehend. Listen and understand. Ismai, ifhami. This is how it is. So this is the imperative verbs of the second person. Okay. That is lesson number 3. And then, of course, we do lesson number 4 is again imperative continue, but now we say imperative of first person and the third person. So sometimes you order somebody who is in present of you. Sometimes you order somebody who is not in your present. Let's say that you want something your daughter to do, and she's not in your presence. She's away, for example, she's with her husband, right? You ask her to do something, that will be third person. So in Arabic, you will do by doing, no, you just add the letter li. Yasma'u li yasma. No, make sure that you listen to what I tell you. Li yasma. Yasma li yasma'an. So this is a present tense. This is imperative of the present tense. This is again present tense, imperative of present tense. No, this is present tense and this is imperative. So yasma'u li yasma. Yasma'ani li yasma'a. Yasma'una li yasma'u. You see? So present tense and it's what imperative. So you say he should do it. You should write it. For example, make sure that you should put salt in the rice. Don't forget it. So that is you're trying to command. We add by saying li. We just add by fixing the letter li to the present tense. Here below is the conjugation present tense of verb samia along with the imperative verbs derived from the present tense. Okay. This is the whole table is there, subhanallah. Any questions? Now, this is unique in Arabic, you should know. In English, for example, if you want to command somebody, you said, write this thing. So how do you know it is a command? It's just by what your impression or the way you say it, right? Write it down. No, write it down. So when you say write it down, you know that this is a command. No, for example, he writes this down. So in English, there is not much difference. It's only the way you speak it or the way you explain it, it will be there. But in Arabic, you add this letter li, the third person, the first person. In the second person, we add the Hamzatul Wasl, okay, and remove the prefixes of the present tenses. So this is as far as the third person and the first person is concerned, imperative. And finally, there is an imperative. Technically, it's not imperative, it's a prohibition. It means you want to now give a command, but not do it. Don't do this thing. So we'll just use the present tense as it is. Before that, we add la, but then the dhamma will change into sukun. Okay. So yakhruju, he came out. So la yakhruju, he should not come out. So la yakhruju is la yakhruj. The dhamma will become sakin, la yakhruj, he shouldn't come out. No, la takhruj, sister. No, takhruju, she comes out. She came out, right? She comes out, takhruj. La takhruj, do not come out. Again, as somebody noticed, the third person feminine and second person masculine is same. So la takhruj, la takhruj. No, it's no difference, okay? But when it comes to second person feminine, la takhruji, do not come out. It is very cold, do not come out, right? We advise you, la takhruji, don't come out. La akhruj, I shouldn't come out. I think that it's too cold, I should not come out. Any questions? So this is a quick revision for lessons 1 to 5 in unit 2 about fair. Any questions? So next week, inshallah, we will look at now lesson 6. Okay, so if you go, and what I would advise for those who have joined from level 4, if you can look at our recordings of these lessons quickly, it will help you. Okay. So we did federal imperative verbs number 2. Then we did prohibition, which is lesson 5. And now we will do lesson 6, inshallah, which is page number 109, jussive particles, right? Huruful jazma. Inshallah, we'll cover that next week. And you need to please revise lessons 1 to 4 because it is now getting a little sophisticated. So it is important that we do revise past lessons. And especially I would ask 2 or 3 of you who have joined us from level 4, please don't assume that it's enough. You have to listen to past recordings and look at them. And I don't mind even if you have some questions, you can send me, okay? You can email me and I'll try to answer if possible. So that at least you're following it. Any questions? Any clarifications? Okay. Thank you again for being with us. Please pray that we can really benefit such that when we recite, do tilawat of Quran this year Ramadan, it makes difference as we are doing this. So, Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Khuda Hafiz.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah, Shaykh.
Thank you.
Hafiz.
Thank you. Khuda Hafiz.